Happy Monday. How you doing? How was your weekend? Hope you had fun. Hope you stayed safe. We had a good weekend here. Well, as I said yesterday, I was going to talk about something that's been going on in the city here. It's, I think, a direct reflection of society in general. How people want to shift the blame to others. Oh, one other thing too. I'll tell you, man, we got some people in here. You know, the windmills, the wind farm is on the back side of me over here. Um, it's going to kill the whales. Really, it's going to give them brain cancer. Serious, I'm serious. That we got people in society that believe this shit. You know, they refuse to accept, science. They'd rather go on conspiracy theories. Um, a little bit of a fuss over here. They have a prototype floating windmill. They're smaller in size, and they're on like pontoons that float on the surface of the water, and they're anchored to the seabed. So no power lines are connected to it. It's just a prototype for testing purposes. And already people are understanding it's going to make them sick. Oh, I'm already getting a headache from this thing. Seriously. uh, but there's been a lot of fuss over the past 2 weeks. And they're going to hold a city council meeting, and it's going to be open to the public sometime this week. Uh, I don't go to city council meetings anymore. Let's just say I'm not welcome there. I had a run-in with a few city councilors a few years back, and one of them was a bit personal. I went to school with the guy. I know him very well. And these guys, they don't do shit. They all have their jobs. They're realtors. All of them own their own stores and businesses. Few own a few little mini mart, gas stations, convenience stores, They're, you know, they have their livelihood, but they want to be a city council, and they do it for the money. They don't do anything. They put in maybe 1 or 2 hours a week, if that, maybe making a phone call if someone in their ward calls and complains about trash collection or something. Oh, okay, and they're not even in an office. And half the time the complaints are you call them, you get a voicemail, they never get back to you. They're too busy living their own life and making their money in their own profession. They were getting like $18,000 a year for this, you know. Then they voted themselves a pay raise to $22,000 a year, then voted themselves a pay raise to $25,000 a year. Now they voted themselves a pay raise to $29,000 a year, which is more money than a lot of people are working 40 plus hours, hard earned hours a week for. And they don't do shit. There was something going on at this about 5 years ago. Something going on at the time, and I went. It's about maybe 300 of us there, of those residents. And I spoke up, and I called them a bunch of grandstanders, and the only thing they're good for is voting themselves a pay raise, you know. And then his name's Brian too, Brian Gomes, because we know each other personally, going back to high school days. We got into it. And then I stood up, and let's just say that I was escorted out by two very large armed security guards, um, and it's kind of asked not to return, so I'll miss out on that. And anyway, they're going to be holding a big session on this due to a four-way intersection up the west end near Buttonwood Park. And this, I think, is a direct reflection on society in general. It goes far beyond the scope of this four-way intersection here in the city of New Bedford, Massachusetts. How people think, where they want to put the blame on things and not take responsibility for how they drive their fucking cars. This is a lot of accidents at this intersection. Four-way intersection, two stop signs running. Stop signs are on the heading east and west. The north and south is straight through. Well, apparently a lot of people run those stop signs here. You know what I mean? Causing a lot of accidents. So what are they doing? They're blaming the city. City's fault. City should have 4 stop signs there. Should have a stop sign at each Really? Why? What do you need it for? Why isn't two enough? People aren't paying attention while they're driving. How's the city's fault? Really? That's how it is in society. Everything is everyone else's fault. I blame cell phones. People always on their phones. Saturday night at Knuckleheads, man. We see it. All you see all night. And we'll see people come in, two couples, three, four people. They're at a table all night. And it gets kind of dim when the band starts up and shit. And all you see is white lights because they're looking at their phones and like, there's all these people at a table where other people are talking. They're not even talking with each other. They're staring at their fucking phones. Stay the fuck home. Drinks there ain't exactly cheap. It's cheap for me. Even then, I paid $3.50 for a fucking soda. Auntie Billy have two mixed drinks. She's not a big drinker. Like $8 a pop, and it was some even more money. Can't go to do beers. Beers are like $4. Shots like $4.50. So they get a beer and a shot, and for a tip they hand a 10. You can piss a lot of money that way. Stay home. Go buy a 6-pack, whatever it is, and stay home. You obviously, you don't want to be socialized with anybody. Why the fuck are you even there? And you have gas to drive there, and you have time to drive there and drive home, and why are you there? People live on their phones, and that's a major cause of car accidents. Talking, and not just texting, even talking. They get so distracted, wrapped up in a conversation. I've had cars next to me. I pulled up at a stoplight, at a red light. There'll be a car. You see the person on their phone. And they're not having a happy conversation. They're like, you can see they're having a heavy-duty argument, either with their wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. They're in a real heated argument. You argument. You can see it. And the light turns green. I go, and the car's still sitting there. And I hear horns blowing behind me. The car's behind them. The person's so wrapped up in that phone conversation, they didn't even realize the light turned green to go. People had to blow their horns to get their attention. So how they didn't even notice the light turned green? Damn well if they were driving along doing that, they're not going to notice when that light turns red or it's a stop sign. They're going to blow right through it, cause an accident. But it's the city's fault. That's how it is. Everybody wants to lay blame on everyone else. I recall, remember when Paul Walker, Fast and Furious guy there with Vin Diesel, when he died, he was with his buddy in that Porsche Carrera, that's very special model. He was killed in that accident. How many people blamed Porsche? I saw it on news. People wanted to file lawsuits against Porsche that the car was unsafe. It wasn't designed properly. They weren't putting the right type of tires. They blamed everything from the tires to the poor design and poor handling of the car. It was engineered, built wrong. I think Porsche does a pretty good job with their engineering of vehicles. I don't know about you, but I think they've established a pretty good reputation throughout their existence. This guy was driving like a fucking maniac at well over 100 miles an hour, That's why he wrecked. It wasn't the car's fault. It wasn't the tire's fault. People didn't want to put the blame where it belonged. On his friend that was driving and Walker that was sitting in the car, and he was a speed freak too. Yeah, come on, punch this thing. Come on, punch this thing. Sure wasn't in there yelling, stop, slow down, stop, you're going to kill us. I'm sure that wasn't going on. He wanted to go faster. They want to blame Porsche. They want to blame the tire manufacturer. They want to blame everybody except the people that are responsible for doing the things that cause the problems. I look at some things, and for me anyway, it's easy to connect the dots to the mentality and society with people. I admit I like watching Judge Judy once in a while. You ever see these shows? It's funny. It's always money owed. Relationships going bad when they take in roommates. There's an old saying, people that, live in the same property, maybe you really don't want to do it with friends. Your friends would fuck you over more than a stranger will, Before you know it, one of them is being thrown out. One of them grows an ego, becomes arrogant, becomes alpha, and wants to boss the other two around. Next thing you know, there's problems. There's even been physical violence. Police are called, restraining orders, not paying the rent. And their good friendships go right down the fucking shitter. People that share a common property. Their friendships usually don't last very long. It is issues. money's owed. People that borrow money don't want to pay it back. And then they start giving the person shit. They're harassing them. They're asking for their money back. They want to make out the person that helped them out, that did them a huge favor, rather than borrow money. They want to make them the bad guy. I always get a kick out of those cases. You get a big kick out of those after they lose, in the hall. So what did you learn from this? Here's the person that fucked that person over big time. And they'll look at the camera. I learned not to trust people like him again. Whoa, wait a minute, pal. You're the one that can't be trusted. They don't even want to take the blame for fucking people over. They fuck people over and it's the other person's fault. That's kind of how it is, And it makes me think about how today car manufacturers are going to make cars safer so people won't be getting killed in accidents, crumple zones, this, that, all the technology going into the construction of motor vehicles to keep passengers safer. And that costs a lot of money. That's tacked onto the price of the car. That now the car costs more money for the people buying it. And I say, is that really necessary? If people just fucking drove a little more responsibly, not so reckless, they got off their phones, they weren't speeding, driving dangerously. We got to protect people from themselves. That's a hard thing to do. It's very hard to save someone from themselves if they don't want to be saved, if they don't want to take on their own personal responsibility on how they drive a car, how they're behaving in society. Just paying attention to their environment. No. We got to protect these people. It's auto manufacturers' responsibility, not their responsibility. And it makes me think about how in this society, we have smart cars. That word smart's attached to so many things today. You notice that? Smart cars. I'm on my laptop now. Smartphones. Smart TVs. Smart kitchen appliances. Smart cooking ranges. Smart refrigerators. Smart microwaves. Maybe it would be better if we had more smart people. What do you think about that? Have a great day. Have fun and stay safe. Get you again later this week.